freezing cold. I had to go to Costco today and buy we buy ribeyes, and we get some of that from the cattle that we produce, but you eat all that first, then it's just a lot of hamburger. But I have had someone asking me, "Hey, I want to produce my own." Excuse me. Produce our own meat. We want to buy a steer and feed it out and do all this stuff. Anymore, I tell people the same thing. I said, "You got a Costco card? Yeah. You like their fillets? Do you like their... I like the ribeyes, the thin cut ones. You can pan fry those, man. They're really good. Really tender, too." And I try to talk them out of it because they said, I don't know what steers are going for, what a beef is going to cost you on the hoof. Assuming you have a place to put it, then you're going to grain. If I bought ribeyes today, we buy them in these flats, these big trays they've got. We'll buy 3 of those, and there's got to be probably 30 steaks or something like that. We feed a good group every night. But it's $14 a pound. Now maybe sirloins, maybe those are a little bit different, but the ribeyes are $14 a pound. It's varied lately, but 400 pounds of that's probably $5 or $6 grand. Okay, and then their hamburger, they have good hamburger there. Hamburger's going to be cheaper, so I tell people, I say, listen, go to Costco, try their steaks out, then try their hamburger. They have grass-fed. It's probably about $20 a pound, but you got grass-fed. You got actually, no, it's not 20 pounds, but it's higher priced. You've got these options. You can buy a bunch of fillets. You can buy a whole bunch of ribeyes or top sirloins, or you can buy nothing but tri-tip. I said, but when you raise a steer, you get 2 tri-tips. That's it. Just 2. You get a bunch of roasts and stuff that you might not cook. You get, you end up with a bunch of meats and stuff you really may not want. You run out of the steaks and you run out of the skirts and all this kind of stuff. And I tell them, I said, listen, if you have a place to put it, a place to feed it, okay, then you have unless someone's going to give you that steer, they're expensive. You're going to probably spend easily $1,500 for a steer. I'm thinking right now, I could be wrong, but depending on the older it is, the less time you got to deal with it. And if it's a baby, the longer you got to keep it. You got to maintain him. The other thing is, right now, if I say, I'm looking at some steers right now, I'm getting ready to make a phone call. I got to set up the butchering, the slaughter process. The guy to come out and process them. It's a year and a half out. It's a year and a half. And I'm looking at these steers now and say, okay, I need to make the move because if they're at least a year away before they're due. So I'm going to call this guy this week, say, okay, put me on the board, give me a date because I got 2, but it's going to be, a year and a half off. But they had time to grow, they're not big enough yet. But I tell people this, I said, listen, you might say, gosh, if I bought that many fillets and ribeyes, it'd be $5 or $6 grand. What do you think the steer is going to cost you? The processing guy there, it's almost, I think it's $2 a pound now to process them. You get 800 pounds of animal, that's about $1,600. There ain't nothing cheap about producing your own meat, unless you got the animal for free, and maybe you came out of one of your cows or something. But it's expensive all the way through, and there's no guarantee it's going to be great meat. That's very hereditary. It's very genetic, and that kind of thing. The steaks that come off my my cattle, for the most part, are kind of tough. Okay, I'll be honest. Grass fed, but even then, they're still kind of tough. Whereas I typically put as much as I can into hamburger. The hamburger is just awesome. But I tell people all the time, if you look at all the time, the effort, the maintaining the animal, buy the animal, feed the animal, house the animal, pay someone to slaughter him and pick all this up. 4 or 5 grand, 6 grand don't look that bad. And the advantage is you cannot grow a steer that will give you a couple hundred steaks, but Costco can. You can't grow a steer that'll give you 500 pounds of filet. Costco can. So I tell people all the time, when the lockdowns happened, you couldn't buy a freezer because everybody was into it. And now it used to be 4 months for the guy to come out and slaughter your cattle. Now everyone's doing it. Oh man, we got to, who knows? We all got to stock up on meat and all this kind of stuff. And so it became a thing. And it's ruined it for me, but what the heck? I have to plan for it better. But I tell people all the time, hey man, we want to grow our own steer. I tell them, wake up, dude. Tell them, why burn your money? It's not, in my opinion, it's just not worth it. Well, I know it's in the animal. I know it's going to be this, that, or the other. Hey, Costco ain't breaking no, not putting any wicked stuff in your animal or whatever the case is. I mean, it's good meat. It's quality meat. You got a quality product. But even if money wasn't an issue, I don't care. I'm going to do my own. Okay. Your steer died. In a couple months left, he died. Dumbass did something stupid and killed himself. What do you do now? This stuff happens. Or ran away. Got through the fence, ran away. They still don't know where he is. Okay, some border brothers, they've already chopped him up, made tacos out of his ass already. Or sold him. I hope he had a brand on him because he's sold already. Someone's cashed him in. There's just so many things that could go wrong. I had a situation once where we couldn't get corn. You couldn't get rolled corn. I like to use rolled corn. Or I sometimes use a multi-grain, or sometimes use a rolled corn. Typically, I'm almost always grass-fed. That's my people. But it's just so many things could go wrong where you could just go down to Costco, whip out your card, and get a stack of steaks that 99.9% of the time are going to be delicious and tender. And the biggest advantage is you could actually grow a steer at Costco that's made of nothing but filet and 25 tri-tips. Okay, no one else can do that. Costco can't. You can just go to the shelf and load them up in your basket. I've been doing this now for over a year because I got a Costco card a while back last year, and I'm feeding for more people. So I'm going to start doing some steaks, get some, break it up a little bit. I have yet to get a steak that you could not cut with a spoon, and it was just absolutely delicious. I mean, you can go to some nice restaurants and not get a steak as good as you could pull out of Costco. So if you're thinking about growing your own meat, unless you got the setup, or you got to get something free, either you already own the land, or your neighbor gives you a great deal on a steer, or whatever the case is, and hopefully you don't have to wait a year and a half to get it done, blah, blah, blah. Or you want the experience one time. I don't mean to laugh at people, but it's... in my opinion, if knowing what I know, let's buy a steer and grain our own. No way. No way. Hey, I want you to raise horses too. Go get them, Rip. Yeah, let Costco do it for you because they do a great job. They absolutely do a great job. They've got some new hamburgers. I think they have buffalo that might be coming on or something. I'm going to go try it. Just something different. I love buffalo. I've had that many times. But they have some other cuts and stuff I want to try. But like I said, I've yet to pull anything out of Costco. And I go like once a month just for the meat. And I've yet to bring home a steak that just wasn't out of this world. So they do better than I can. Love you. God bless.